I am going live for a couple minutes just to talk about what the inner critic is. What is the inner critic? So if you know someone who would benefit from having this conversation and exploring and being able to have a little bit more awareness about what the inner critic is, please share. Hi. Thank you for joining already. And we will jump into it. Okay. So, what is the inner critic? I want to talk about what it is and what it isn't. The inner critic is a human phenomenon, it is a thought form, it is something that goes beyond you. There are millions of humans on the planet Earth that experience what the inner critic is and have the same type of thoughts and get stuck in the same type of emotional states that you do, which suggests that this is something that is beyond you. This is something that is greater than you. It's not tied to your identity or just the way you were wired or just the way that you think. So the big distinction that I want to make here is the inner critic is not you. It is not the same as you. So I want to share a little bit of a story. Thank you all for joining in and sending me love. If you have any questions throughout, I love genuine, like authentic real-time engagement. So feel free to let me know in the comments. But I want to share a story about one of the aha moments I experienced with a client and on how they were able to really separate themselves from the inner critic and know what the difference is. Okay. So we were sitting on a park bench and we were just having our session outdoors that day because it was a beautiful day. And there just happened to be a box of wipies like on the table. And we were kind of having a hard time understanding each other just through words and logic. And so I like bringing in metaphors or images to try to bring a point across. And there just happened to be a package of wipes there. So I have a box of tissues here. But imagine that you yourself, you're the box, right? You are the vessel. You are the one that experiences all the things. You are the one that feels all the things. You are the one that hears the thoughts, okay? And all of the thoughts, all of the experiences, all of the history, all of that is all this stuff that's inside, right? So this influences you because you could feel a little heavier or you could feel a little bit lighter, but all of this stuff isn't who you are, okay? Whether this stuff is in here or not, you're still you. This is still who you are. And so the exercise that we did is he started sharing some of those thoughts that just kept on repeating over and over and over that he thought was him. So one of the thoughts is, I'm not good enough. I'm unattractive. I'm unlovable. I'm a failure. Nothing I do will ever be good enough. Okay, we have all of these thoughts, all of these experiences that we have. Sometimes it's trauma, sometimes it's betrayal, sometimes it's adultery and infidelity. We have all of these experiences, all of these thoughts, all of these messages that just get stuffed into our being. And we focus so much attention on them, we start to confuse them for who we are. But when we allow ourselves to see that, oh, okay, these are things that happened to me, these are things that either got stuffed into me, maybe things that were repeated to me over and over and over as a child, then I could start recognizing the difference between what I've experienced, what I've heard, and who I am. I'm the one that hears it. I'm the one that feels it. I'm the one that thinks about it. And then you can step into a place of empowerment and be like, okay, what do I want to do about this? So one common thought for this particular client was, I'm an idiot. He just could not shake that. A lot of the times he would just say it like, do something silly or goofy and just be like, oh my God, I'm a complete idiot. That one kept on coming up. So one challenge I want to have for you, like if there's a thought that keeps on coming up, if you often say like, I'm stupid or something along those lines, right? take it, recognize, okay, this is this. So we'll take this one. I'm an idiot. When was the first time you ever like really believed that? Like, can you remember? When was the first time? Sometimes we can remember as far back, like the first time you really believe, like, I'm stupid, or I'm not cut out for this, or something along those lines. And then you can recognize that moment or that experience. For this particular client, it was someone close, someone in his family who would often call him and tell him that he was an idiot. And so when he recognized, hold up a minute, this isn't even my voice. This is the echo of this person. The echo of his voice has just been playing in my mind over and over and over, but it was playing in my mind as my own voice. So I got to the point that I just thought that's who I was, but that's his baggage. That was his stuff that he was putting on me. So that puts us in a position where you're like, okay, you recognize that now. That's not your voice. That's an internalized message of a message that you heard over and over and over and over again. Now you can be in a position to be like, what do you want to do with this? Do you want to toss it? Do you want to throw it out? Do you want to be like, okay, that is trash? Sometimes we also have the choice to be able to sift out the truth. So how much of this is still important information that I want to keep, and how much of this am I going to throw away? Because that never had anything to do with me anyways. This person didn't know how to treat people with love. This person was emotionally abusive, physically abusive, psychologically abusive, and they were putting that onto me, and I'm not carrying it anymore, right? So then we could clean ourselves out with that. So one way to be able to discern the inner critic and to be able to identify what it is doing that, taking those thoughts when they come up, and then being like, okay, what do I want to do with you? This is conscious processing, because then we could choose, like, you know what? I like this thought. Maybe this thought that you want to keep, you could fold it up and you could put it neatly back in place. Or you could say, no, this has no place. This does not serve me. This has no place in my mind, in my heart, in my life story. So I'm choosing to throw it out. That is what that conscious processing is about. What is it that I want to do with these things? And recognizing that thoughts and experiences are separate from our identity. So I hope this little metaphor was useful to you or helped you. If you are interested in exploring what the inner critic looks like in your life, feel free. I'm going to have a link in the description section for you to book a complimentary call with me, and we can have a discussion about that. So if you have any questions or comments or anything like that, let me know in the comments. I'm going to share one more tip, and then I'm going to be ending the live unless we have any other questions or comments. So the tip, what I hope that you're walking away from this with, is the acknowledgement that any conscious change, the first step in any conscious change is awareness. So if you are aware that, okay, the inner critic is a thing, the inner critic is a human phenomenon, those thoughts of not enough, constantly criticizing every little thing, finding shame, the coulda, shoulda, wouldas, the doubt, the fear that you can't do this, all of that is beyond you. That is not an accurate descriptor of who you are, of what you are capable of. It is not what you came out of your mother's womb being. You are so much more than all of that. And the inner critic is also an entity on its own. It's a human phenomenon. It's a human experience, and our ability to be like, oh, that's not me. Yes, I hear it in my voice because the thoughts are coming in my mind, but that is not me. And your experience to be aware of it, then you can name it. And I would like to offer the name of inner critic, but there are so many other names that we use as well. But if you name it, then it's easier to look at it, because it's like, oh, this is not me. This is not what I really think. Name it, recognize it, and we could choose to crumble that thing up and toss it, or we can choose to sift out the good that might still serve us and throw away what doesn't, and then put things back in their place however they serve us best. So be aware when the inner critic comes around, name it, and then you have every right to release it and or sift out whatever can serve you well. So I hope this was helpful. I'm just going to check the comments really quickly. Thank you for support. Thank you for those of you that are here and tuned in. And I'm going to continue doing several videos about the inner critic for the month of December. So leave me any comments if there's something that you want me to cover in the next live, and I'll see you then. You're welcome.